Look, I don't know how many times I have to say so close but so far away are the Carolina Panthers because, like, these last couple of weeks, I mean, we talking heartbreakers. We talking just pure frustration. We talking just oh so close. We talking drop touchdown catches. We talking touchdown catches that were obvious touchdown catches. But for some reason, the blinders got shown on, and they weren't touchdown catches, Jeff. Like, I mean – it's funny, before we got going on this show, we were talking about two teams going in two opposite directions, but kind of sometimes they play a little similar. It's just one team finds some way to finish games, the other team doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we were talking about the Chiefs and the Panthers. And, I mean, the Chiefs, once again, win a game on a last-second field goal, which hits an upright. 95% of the time, that ain't going through. And it gets... it's good, so they win another game. Yep. They are 5 plays or 6 plays from being, 4 and something or 3. I mean, people will push back with it, but that's really what it is. I mean, you're literally that many plays away from being, a team with a losing record. And then, the complete flip side is, you take the Panthers and, the last 5 games have all been within a score. You've won 2 of those 5. Yep. But, I mean, in the last 3 weeks, you lose to the Chiefs by 3, the Buccaneers by 3, and the Eagles by 6. You flip those 3 around, we're talking playoffs, right? Yeah, you're in the playoff conversation. Yeah. So it's just it's a gut punch when you see people like the Chiefs win those games. Yeah. And then, but I'm going to tell you this, and here's what I've loved over the last couple weeks. Like people were talking about Patrick Mahomes. If you have a minute and a half, 2 minutes to go, and he needs a touchdown or a field goal to beat you, he's going to get it. Yeah. When are people going to learn you either got to be up 2 scores against the Chiefs or you better have no time on the clock, because you're going to lose. Yeah. You are going to lose. What has impressed me more than anything, though, is even like the Eagles game, Bryce had a good game. I think he threw for 191 yards. He had a TD and he had an interception, which was not a good INT. It was kind of a poor throw. He got back to that throwing off his back foot or whatever. But once again, he's there, ball in his hands, and really an incomplete pass to, Leggett, whether, you can argue whether he should have caught it or not. Maybe Bryce didn't need to, he overthrew him a little. So if he could have hit him in stride, because Xavier was wide open. So, but at least you're getting to the point now where you're seeing a quarterback come into his own where he steps into a huddle with 2 minutes to go. He's driving downfield.
Yeah, and you trust him.
Yeah, you do. You really do. I mean, when they got the ball back with how much time, and I'm like, this could happen. Yeah. And against the Eagles, who, by the way, now seem to have a little, turmoil in the locker room too. And I heard an interesting discussion. We can talk about this too. Like after that game, it seemed like A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts, they had kind of like some touchy answers to like some questions about like, are you getting the ball enough? And and here's the interesting part. They were very honest. I mean, A.J.'s like, no, I'm not happy or whatever. And I've heard people go, when you're in the locker room right after a game and you say something and the press is like, well, they need to suck it up and deal and, like not air their grievances. Okay, do you want athletes to be honest or not?
Right.
You don't get it? It's like right after a game, the emotions are running high. You're going to, as a reporter, you're going to step up and ask a question. If they give you a salty answer.
And reporters are going to press.
Like, right. And if we're going to do that, don't get on them as there's turmoil in the locker room when they're being, they're just being honest.
Yeah,
and so anyway.
And I feel like certain locker rooms get that push of, there's turmoil in the locker room, especially Philly. Philly over the last couple of years has been like, can you trust Jalen Hurts?
Right.
And it's kind of crazy.
But anyway, but back to Bryce real quick. So, there are times, a year ago I would have never thought it. I'm now going, if we have the ball with less than a minute to go or 2 minutes to go, this could turn out.
Yeah, and it's crazy. I do want to welcome you guys in because we like to get to the intro so y'all can hit that subscribe
we jump right
button
in.
There. Look, we want y'all hitting the subscribe button so y'all can keep on with the Game On podcast, so y'all can keep on with the 704, not the 704, but the Keep Prowling podcast.
Yeah, there we go.
The formerly known as 704 High School
Highlight,
but which is now the Game On podcast. In case you don't know, in case you've just been following me, which is crazy. I don't understand. You got to follow this guy too. In case you've just been following along, but. Welcome into the Prowling Podcast. I'm your host, DJ Beal. Got Jeff Taylor back, sports director, back again. And, it's funny, like, we were talking about this game, and it almost feels like we have the same conversation every week because it's like the Panthers are oh so close.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like it's still a loss, so it's hard. You don't want to take, Gary said a couple weeks ago, it's like you don't want to take too much pride in kind of your moral victories, but at the same time, it's like for a team who was the worst team in the league a month and a half ago, for them to be just a couple of plays really away from winning 4 or 5 straight, it's like you hope to get that back. And teams go through this all the time. The Raiders did it a couple years ago. The Chargers did it a couple years ago, where it's like they're this close to being a really good team, but they're on the borderline fringes of
I think my pushback would be with a first-year head coach in Dave Canales, a quarterback who's struggled early on. To me, like, you're not going to get to the playoffs this year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it probably, at least I think it would be a very long shot, but you never know in the NFL. But it just becomes this, DJ, like, you got to feel good, though. Do you know? You got to feel good about your team, and you got to feel good about the future. Yeah. Listen, you're like, okay, if Dave Canales, and Bryce and Xavier and everybody else, Chuba can get this going, then you got to feel good about next. At least where your future might be. There are other teams out there that you're going, what? Yeah. What are we doing?
And I think once again, the NFL, I think sometimes loses sight of you're still playing football at the end of the day.
Right.
You're still dealing with first-year head coaches, first-year quarterbacks, young guys from time to time. And, sometimes I think there's a lot of times where you can take a little bit of inspiration from the high school level, right, where you bring in a new coach.
Yeah.
The new coach changes the culture. Right? But you still struggle a little bit, but you can see that there's a culture change.
You can see what's coming.
I think NFL teams and, NFL fan bases, and I get it, like, it's on on the national stage for the world to see.
Right.
So it's a little bit harder. But at the same time, it's like, a little bit of patience will go a long way, especially for NFL fan bases, for NFL teams, and understanding where you are. You're, like you said, first-year head coach, second-year quarterback that's had his struggles, right? But at the same time, you're trying to build a team around him, and that takes time to build chemistry around him.
And the people who listen to the podcast when I'm on, y'all know who I'm a fan of or whatever. I have no idea where the Titans are going. Mm-hmm. I'm like, not a clue.
Yeah.
And I watch them and I'm going, what is going on? And they're building a brand new stadium that's going to open in 2 years. Like, how are you going to feel? Like, there's no. I have no idea. Do you know what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
So I as somebody who follows the Panthers and covers them and stuff like that, I'm ecstatic about the Panthers. I'm watching the Panthers instead of the Titans, going, okay, at least this team has some direction. At least they know where they're going. Mm-hmm. When you take the Raiders or the Titans or the Jags, I can name 4 or 5 more teams. Yeah. What's going on? And by the way, here's an interesting stat. I want to throw this out there to the viewers. Listeners, viewers, you can do both.
Yeah.
They just came out with this the other day. In 2024, the top 100 viewed shows or events in 2024 on television, top 100.
Yeah.
How many of them were NFL games?
60.
Huh?
60.
96.
Wow. And
so I don't know why I threw that out there.
But
you want to talk about the NFL? You mentioned, people. That's what people watch.
It makes me wonder though too. Does because a lot of people are cutting the cord. Of course, we work in TV, so we understand. Right. So it makes me wonder if having games on these different streaming platforms and instead of having games exclusively on TV for years, that's what it was.
Right.
Having them on, they've been on every platform you can think of. Right. So having them on different platforms, does that bring in more viewership because people are not necessarily sitting down to watch TV as much as they were?
I think so. Yeah. I think so. But, for me on a Sunday afternoon, too, like, I mean, I'll watch Panthers, but then all of a sudden, the Lions and Packers or whatever within 2 points of each other, I'm flipping around. So, I'm all over the place on Sundays.
Right.
So, actually Saturdays, too.
Yeah.
But anyway, but like I said, I think going forward, how do you not feel good? And we can keep talking about moral victories, and it's not moral victories. I don't want to say that. Because at the end of the day, you want to win football games.
Yeah.
So let's not call it moral victories, but when you talk about a future vision of what this team can do, now you're talking about, like, literally you could win your division next year.
Yeah.
I mean, the Panthers could be the top in that division next year.
Yeah.
They really could.
Yeah.
And to even be thinking that now, after a first-year head coach with a quarterback who's had his ups and downs, and now that trade.
And I think that
does it look as bad, I mean.
And I guess the other question I have too is, and this is for you all out there, what level of success happened overnight? Like, and when I say that, you're the Bahakel sports director.
Mm-hmm.
Did you just one day wake up? I mean, one day you woke up and you had to go to your first day of work as the Bahakel sports director, but there was a process to it.
Absolutely.
There was some struggles. There was probably some hard nights to it, right?
Sure.
So that's the thing when it comes to NFL teams too. I think we forget, like, this stuff doesn't happen
it's
overnight.
A process.
There's even for us as individual people, you have a goal, you make a plan for it, and there's going to be some ups and downs throughout the way, and that's simply how it is. And there's no successful person who hasn't had a couple of bankruptcies to their name,
right. But
to get to that point.
The two problems with that, though, is we live in a I want it now. Mm-hmm. Everything's at our fingertips. Like, we want everything now. Mm-hmm. We want our teams to win now.
Right.
And that's where coaches and owners and, they don't hang with it long enough. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I'm getting at? So, I mean, you can't bring in a coach, let him do his deal for a year, and if he goes 3-14, you can't fire him.
Right.
Unless he's doing some completely bonehead moves and has lost the locker room and all of that, you've got to let, you're talking about the best football players in the world. Mm-hmm. I've heard people, we've seen people make the jump from college to the pros, and a number 1 pick struggles at a number 6, a 6-round pick. Listen, a 6-round pick became the greatest quarterback of all time. I mean,
right.
I mean, you gotta let all this. You gotta let all this go. And when we wanted to throw Bryson, and I was included under the bus year 1. I mean, the Tom Brady's, the Peyton Mannings, the Dan Marinos, their first year and a half, 2 years were horrible.
Mahomes didn't even play.
Right. So and so we live in that. We want it now. We want to win now. And for me, I'll say it like this: even though the Panthers are losing or have had some losses, in my opinion, they're winning.
Yeah, I think
because they're winning. I don't know about you. I'd love to know. Let me ask this question too.
Yeah,
as fans, are you winning now? Do you know what I'm getting at? Like, now are you sitting here going, okay, we got something, and now you can be excited about your team.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that, and it's tough because I think kind of like we talked about before, as fans, we want it now, right? We want that success now. We want that playoff run now. We want we want to at least hit the playoffs. But at the same time, if you're trying to build kind of like a championship culture, that takes time. Even for the Chiefs, it took time. They
didn't do it overnight.
They didn't do it overnight. They had they had coaching changes. They had quarterback changes. They had guys sit for a year. They had the guy who they thought was the guy until they actually had the guy. Right. And they've had other aspects of it where it's just like it's just going to take time, and it's very interesting to see the growth of the Panthers and see where they're going, because I think they're showing I'm not saying that let's chalk this season up and, don't watch any more games.
Right.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying, though, we should be happy and excited to get to year 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right? To get to year 2
exactly,
for
yes.
Canales. Because from what we've seen over the past couple weeks, similar to those Chargers of old, similar to those Raiders of old, there's just a couple things here and a couple things there you can do to flip that switch and honestly be probably 5 or 10 times better than what you are right now. So, I mean, I think there is some things to celebrate, even though the Panthers aren't necessarily winning.
I mean, like I said, you give Dave Canales another year. You've got Bryce Young, a quarterback who's making strides and growing and having fun playing football.
Yeah.
And we can see what a quarterback like Bryce Young can become when you look at the Jalen Hurts, when you look at the Russell Wilsons, when you look at, the C.J. Stroud, who's had somewhat of a sophomore slump. And I mean, honestly, if you think about it, I mean, is Bryce Young playing better than C.J. Stroud?
Yeah, maybe right now. And you could say, like, the start of the season, no.
No,
but
right.
As the season has progressed, it's, things have changed. And
it was weird because it's almost, the first and second picks from last year, but one of them had a great year, so all the expectations were this could be a Super Bowl team. Yeah. He's going to be a top 5 quarterback. You know what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
And then you had another quarterback that was like, this kid can't play. And now who's more pressure on?
Yeah.
Who? Because I've watched C.J. Stroud over the last couple of weeks, and they've won, and I mean they've lost too. But like, I've seen his demeanor. You got Bryce dancing in the end zone, and C.J. kind of going, "What the heck's going on?" So, I think there's reason to be excited. I think that if you're a Panthers fan, you got to be happy right now.
And I think too, like, don't forget why you were excited when Bryce was drafted. Like, we remember when Bryce was drafted, and we remember the reaction from the fans. Whether it been uptown, whether it been on social media, we remember that reaction.
Yeah.
And don't forget that. Like, because I was having this conversation throughout the office, and me and the conversation that this person that I was having, the conversation we had was, Bryce looks like Alabama Bryce again. Right, he looks like
agreed.
He looks like the guy that we expected when we he's accurate again. He's decisive. Like, before it looked like, he was trying to run to get out of trouble, but he wasn't fast enough. But now it's like, I'm not trying to run to get out of trouble. Still, I want to get out of trouble, but I see there's something here.
I'm extending the play.
I'm gonna find.
Yep.
I'm gonna be a playmaker. That's what I'm gonna be, and I think.
Agreed.
That's
absolutely.
been good. And he's been, for the most part, pretty accurate too. When it comes down to. Throwing the football. So I'm excited. I know the other kind of negative side of this thing is the Jonathan Brooks situation.
You not feel for the kid. But now, I don't. What do you do if you're the Panthers? Like, I get it, but now you've had 2 seasons. With was it the same leg? The ACL?
Yeah.
But I mean,
but I guess the other thing is they drafted him. What was the second round?
Huh?
Was it second round?
Yeah.
And I think you're just gonna kind of have to let it play out. It's similar to a J.K. Dobbins situation.
Yeah.
Right, where you draft a guy pretty early, you want him to be that guy. Injuries have plagued him. For J.K. a lot of his career. For Jonathan Brooks, at least in his NFL career, a lot of his career.
Yeah.
So it's just gonna really depend on if his body can hold up.
That's
that's gonna be the hard.
That's what I'm wondering. But you got to feel. I mean, and when I watched the play happen, I knew right when it happened. I'm like, oh, this is not good.
Yeah.
You wait. You just play it by ear now. But I don't know that, you don't have to start thinking.
Yeah.
We got, we got Chuba Hubbard, who's not going to be behind him.
Yeah, it's very interesting. So I know you had brought up some of the playoff clinching scenarios for this week. I'm gonna just let y'all know who's already in, so that way we don't have to worry about them. So the Eagles are already in as probably the winners of the NFC East. The Lions are already in. They're not the winners of it's crazy how close that race is.
I know that. Yeah, that.
Like, I mean, it's crazy because we felt like the Lions have been far and away one of the best teams in the league, and the Vikings are right there. And I think they've kind of been forgotten about, stepchild or something. Like, it's crazy to think. Like,
I mean, Sam, come on, Sam.
Yeah,
seriously,
crazy.
5 touchdowns this past weekend.
And
people, and real quick too, I heard this as I was driving to Knoxville the other day to pick up my kid from college. Sam's only 27.
Yeah. It's crazy.
And I want to talk about, he was done.
Yeah.
People wrote him off.
Yeah. They wrote him off in New York.
He was right. He was done. And what? Is it the like?
That's the thing. Like, is it the coach or is it,
and is there
some of those tribulations help you?
And you've got oh my gosh, what's the kid's name? Who's behind him?
JJ McCarthy.
Yeah, JJ. I mean, is JJ going to sit another year?
Like I said, I think you trade Darnold.
That's
while he's got the value.
Well,
he has.
but he's only got a year contract. So isn't he a free agent?
I think so. Yeah. And my thought was maybe you extend him and then you trade him. But like the reason I say that is it could be a Josh Dobbs situation where it's like he plays lights out, but then do you expect it to continue?
The thing would be like he has just this great year. I mean, they're legitimate Super Bowl contenders.
Yeah.
Sam Darnold goes out and gets him to the NFC Championship game, and then like some team will sign him.
Yeah.
And he'll go,
Yep.
He'll go 4-13, right. And throw whatever. But I mean, listen, kudos, guy's balling.
Yeah, he isn't for the AFC. Not many have clinched so far, but it's only the Bills and it's the Chiefs.
Ugh.
That's the two.
All right, come on, Bills.
Probably because of the divisions, really more.
Yeah, of course. Come on, Bills.
Even though I think it's funny the Chiefs in terms of the other teams in their division, I feel like they've been kind of fighting it out a little bit, and whereas I feel like, of course, the AFC East looks like the AFC East when New England was running it, except the Bills are at the top. Yeah. So it's just it's pretty rough. But let's what do we got?
So the Steelers can get in, with a win.
That's it,
or a tie, or Miami loss or a tie at Houston, and an Indianapolis loss. So basically, win and you're in.
Yeah.
And they're playing at Philadelphia. That's the Battle of PA.
That's a tough one, but with Philly already being in, it's not
right.
Not that they're going to sit anybody this early.
But it just makes me nauseous because I've never been a Steeler guy. But listen, Mike Tomlin.
Yeah.
I mean, you had two quarterbacks in Fields and Russell, and here you are at kudos to Mike Tomlin.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy just knows how to coach and get his team fired up, and they're gritty and they play ball. And I wouldn't want to see the Steelers in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's true.
What I mean is I'm the other team.
Yeah,
I actually would like to see him this year go to the playoffs and just destroy Kansas City. Actually, that'd be the only time. The Texans, by default, they get in with a win and an Indy loss at Denver.
Okay,
and they are hosting Miami. So
yeah, that could happen.
That could happen. That's it for the AFC, which is weird. NFC, the Vikings, they get in with a win or a tie, and they're hosting Chicago, or a Los Angeles loss at San Francisco.
Okay.
So
it's not bad.
They could easily get in, and the Eagles are in, but they haven't clinched the NFC East yet.
Gotcha. Okay.
They need a win and a Washington loss.
Okay.
And then Green Bay can get in. Green Bay has like 4 things that need to happen.
Yeah.
So we won't go. They need to win. They need to win at Seattle.
That's a tough one.
So that's some tough ball games.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the way it pans out. And
it's crazy, but it's crazy to think there's 2 clinching scenarios for NFC North teams this week.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, and the interesting part is too, and I was looking at it yesterday or something. There are 8 teams with 3 losses before.
Yeah.
8.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's a fourth of the league.
Yeah.
So anyway, you could be a 3-loss team right now.
Yeah.
And you would be picking 8th or 9th.
Right.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. Yeah.
That's insane.
That is crazy. I got a quick question for you all out there just to have a little fun with this. And for you, Jeff. Who do you think out of the teams that probably may make the playoffs, who do you think are prime for disappointment?
Wow.
I got one off the top of my head, if you want to think about it.
Go ahead.
So I'd say the Vikings. I think, and it's weird because I feel like the Vikings could be primed to upset anybody in the playoffs because of because they're kind of that story this year. But they could be that team that's played extremely well throughout the entirety of the year, and then they get in the playoffs, and then they just put on a stinker.
I could see that. I think Houston could be in trouble.
Okay.
And because I mean, when I think Pittsburgh and I think Baltimore and I think Buffalo and I think Kansas City.
Yeah. That's a gauntlet right there for the playoffs. And I said that's a gauntlet right there.
That
for
is
the
a
playoffs.
gauntlet. And now I'm sorry. Baltimore's a team that scares me.
Mm-hmm. And not in a good way.
And it's not. Listen. I think he's done a great job, but Harbaugh scares me a little bit as a coach.
Yeah, because when is the last time that the Ravens have been beaten as opposed to beating themselves?
Right.
Especially in the playoffs.
Right. I go back to
maybe the Titans game. That might be the last time that they just looked like they weren't there.
Oh yeah, when they lost in 2020.
Yeah.
When the Titans made their run. Yeah. Which we beat New England, Baltimore, and then lost to the Chiefs in the AFC Championship. That was a run. Yeah. Ryan Tannehill. Ryan, what are you doing nowadays, man? Come on, man. I know a team that could use you. Baltimore's and I go back to this year. I guess it was a Steeler game when you had the 2-point conversion.
Yeah.
And you didn't have Derrick Henry in.
Yeah.
Like that to me is.
And
I'm looking at Harbaugh. Go, what are you doing?
And you as the media guy asking, what are you doing? He's like, I don't know why he wasn't in there. How do you not know why your best player?
Right,
whatever you want to say, 1A, 1B, one of your best players is not in the game. Because like I said, in that moment, I'm like, there's 3 levels of threat right there. There's a threat for Lamar to throw the ball off of the fake. There's a threat for him to run the ball, and there's a threat for Derrick Henry to take it.
Or for Derrick Henry to throw.
Yeah.
I mean, the man's thrown 7 touchdown passes in his life.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I'm saying? Put him in that Wildcat.
I should know that one.
You should know that one better than anybody else. I have seen that a couple of times against your team. But that Baltimore scares me a little bit.
Yeah.
That one scares me a little bit just because of coaching.
I get it.
Houston, I just don't know where they're at right now, and I think they get in by default and win that division. NFC wise, I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to say Detroit.
Ooh. Well, you've been a believer in Detroit the whole
I know, but I could
time.
just see.
I think they're your Super Bowl pick, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they are. I'm just scared that something could go awry.
Yeah.
I could, one little thing just go awry and boom. I don't think, I think Dan Campbell's a great coach. Now on the flip side too, I want to see who's going to make some noise.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I think if Washington gets in, they can make some noise.
Yeah, I think so.
And I'd love to see Jane Daniels in there doing that or whatever. On the on the AFC side, it's just like I said, it's a gauntlet. That's crazy. I mean, that is some insane, crazy stuff. Anyway.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, I think.
Oh no, and listen. Seattle could make some noise.
Yeah. Yeah, they're always there. It seems
like.
I think another team that you brought up, and really depends on if they make the playoffs or not. But the Broncos could be one of those teams that upset somebody.
Absolutely.
They're
playing good ball.
They could be sitting looking at the Bills, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's cold either way.
Right. No, I know.
I mean, they're not going to host the game, obviously, but it's cold either way.
Right.
So they know how to play in the cold. And the Bills, I feel like the Bills' losses have been worse than some of their wins have been.
Well, and the bad part with the Bills, and I don't want to and listen, he could be an MVP candidate easily in Josh Allen. But last week, who'd they play? Who'd they lose to? It was the 44-42 game, right? Yeah. I forgot who they lost to. My apologies. Bills and
if it loads.
Was it one?
So they lost to the Rams.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Okay.
Kind of crazy.
He had 6 touchdowns.
Yeah.
But he also threw a ball that was horrible.
Yeah.
It's like.
Yeah. I think sometimes, this is probably a little biased in me, but I think sometimes they pad his stats a little bit.
Oh, no, I agree.
Now, albeit kind of like the tush push, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure Jalen Hurts will probably have the most first down runs in the history of the NFL.
But how many of them are half yard?
Right. So, and I think it's the same thing with Josh Allen. They
right.
They get to the 1 yard line. They're like, might as well just sit in the middle.
Right. No, I agree.
Now, can you blame them?
No, if it works.
That's the other thing, can you blame them?
Yeah.
So the Panthers have the Cowboys this week in a pretty winnable game.
Yeah, I mean, I think
this is a get back on track type game for the Panthers. I think, I think like if they play to the level that they've been playing the last couple of weeks, I think they can really make some noise in this game.
If they got beat, and it's like 27-10 or something.
Yeah.
Then are we back to not feeling so good?
Right. Yeah.
I think they come out. I think they got too much momentum. I think Bryce is playing well. Dallas's D scares me. I will tell you that D scares me. But I still, I think Dallas is a train wreck right now. So I think the Panthers get the win, and I don't think it's a last minute deal. I think they're up comfortably enough to win it.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. I think the Panthers win this game. I think they win by 10.
That's what I'm thinking.
Somewhere along those lines. Let's pick the game. Get up out of here. All right, so we got Thursday Night Football. I think there's no bye weeks finally in the league this week.
Yeah, no, so, thank goodness.
If anybody's fantasy playoffs, and not just mine, were on the line last week when you had some of your most important players sitting down.
Now, I am playing in my league in the playoffs. It's the first time I've made the playoffs in my league ever.
Oh, man.
And the reason being is because up until this point, every year, I always took like 8 Titans players. This year, I didn't. Yeah. I took 1, and that was Calvin Ridley.
You did a little.
I still took Derrick Henry as my first pick.
Smart.
So that man has made me, But anyway, this is the first time in years I did not have like 8 Titans players.
Well, that's funny. I had Derrick Henry and Tank Dell, and both of them were on buys last week, and it was the first round of the playoffs for me.
Right.
So I essentially lost. So Thursday Night Football, the LA Rams at the San Francisco 49ers.
Rams.
Okay. Yeah, I think San Francisco's done. It'll be interesting to see what conversations they have because, of course, you extend Ayuk. I think Debo's gone after this year. Depends on what you want to do with McCaffrey. I don't know. I feel like he just recently got extended, though.
Yeah, he did. I think
so. Depends on what you do there. It'll be interesting to see what they do in years to come. Because I think you were coming up on having to pay Brock Purdy, and the question is going to be, do you or don't you? Because now, without the weapons around him, it doesn't look as good as it did.
The next quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers, Sam Darnold.
You think so? I think Trevor Lawrence.
Oh, Trevor's horrible.
I think Trevor in that system.
Nope, Trevor's horrible.
I'm sticking to it. Trevor in that system, unstoppable.
Nope. Get a haircut and learn how to play football.
It's the hair. It's
the hair, man. Come on now.
That's what it is. It was like when
it's the flowing locks.
It was like when Jameis needed the LASIK surgery. He couldn't see, but that's why he was throwing the interceptions.
Yeah,
the touchdowns, it don't matter.
His LASIK didn't work.
So I'm going Rams 2. Starting out Sunday, of course, we have Dallas and Carolina. We both pick Carolina on that one. Let us know what you guys think below, and I know you guys are following along. So I'm gonna be reading those picks after this. Kansas City at Cleveland.
The luck stops.
Okay.
For the Chiefs.
I'm
going to go with the Browns. Listen, I think that defense is stout,
and
true. I think they can put enough points on the board. I mean, listen, Kansas City's been scoring, 19, 17? When's the last time they, put up a ton of points?
Yeah.
They don't.
That's true.
So I think Cleveland pulls the upset.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm going to go Kansas City.
All right.
I'm just going to say pick. I mean, I think Cleveland could win the game.
Yeah.
But at the same time, by hook or by crook, Kansas City's going to fall into a win.
Well, let me back up there. They're at a point where they need to stop by hook or by crook. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They need to go out and play a ball game.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to go out and win, go out and beat Cleveland 35-10.
Could that be the big first-round upset we see?
Yes.
Because remember a couple years ago when the Steelers, they weren't the number 1 seed, but they were number 2 or number 3.
Right. But
they were just falling into every victory they could find.
Yeah.
And they got in the playoffs and got bounced by the Browns.
Yeah.
Maybe they could be the.
That was like the 21-0 before you blink an eye.
And imagine them playing the Broncos again.
Yeah. I mean, but I think Kansas City loses this week.
Okay. I'm gonna stay with Casey. Miami at Houston.
Wow. I'm gonna go Miami. Houston needs a win, and Houston needs to play well.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is kind of you better figure it out type game. But I'm gonna go Miami.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go Houston.
Right.
I think Miami's playing for a lot, but I don't think they're consistent enough. And neither one of these teams are consistent.
No,
but
right.
I think the lesser of the two
Right.
inconsistencies here. So I'm gonna go Houston. The New York Jets at the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is the game that Jeff will turn off every other game just to watch right here. This is the one.
Well, after their impressive 10-6 win over the Titans last Sunday, which by the way was just like, yeah, I just listen. I'm going Mac Jones and the Jags to beat the Jets. Whatever, they're whatever. They don't exist in my leagues anymore. Teams. I'm going Mac Jones and the mighty Jags.
The Jets are whatever, but I think the Jets win.
All right.
Because, we got a coin to flip because that's about.
And if you're out there and you like to bet on games and you bet on that game, you have some. You need to walk away.
This is what's left in your survival.
Yeah, you're in deep.
Washington at New Orleans.
Washington.
Yeah, I think Washington's got a lot to play for. I think New Orleans has a little less.
Yeah.
So and Derek Carr's out.
Yeah.
So that's gonna hurt. I guess Spencer Rattler will play. But yeah, I don't.
Yeah, and without who's number 7 for the New Orleans?
Taysom.
Yeah, Taysom. Yeah, without him being it, yeah. Bye.
Baltimore at the New York Giants. Bounce back game for Baltimore.
Yeah, you better, and that needs to be like a 30-3. Just wipe the floor with them.
And it's funny, one of the two.
And Derek, I need you to go off.
Right. Yeah, I agree. One of the two NFC losses under Lamar Jackson's run as the Ravens quarterback, of course, Philly before and the Giants. Ironically enough,
it's not
a couple years ago. So, I think they bounced back. So Cincinnati at Tennessee.
Cincinnati, whatever. Go.
Tennessee gonna play spoiler right here. I believe it. Tennessee gonna play spoiler.
All right.
Because the Bengals are still trying to scratch and claw their way into the playoffs. I think Tennessee's gonna spoil the.
They need to put up more than 6 points.
Yeah, definitely that. New England at Arizona.
Arizona.
I agree. Arizona. The Indianapolis Colts at the Denver Broncos.
Broncos.
It's got playoff implications. Though.
Yeah, I think the Broncos are just. I think the Broncos are playing better ball right now than. And listen, Bo Nix is playing better than Anthony Richardson.
Yeah.
So I'm going with that.
That's true. I think.
The Broncos are in the hunt. They are in
7 and 8. Yeah, there's 7 versus the 8th seed right here.
I think the Broncos are a much better playoff team than the Colts.
But this is the worst time for the Broncos to slip up too.
Yeah. No. Agreed.
Because you're trying to keep that. Spot.
You're there.
You're ahead by 2 games.
Yeah.
Like you're still in at that point, but still.
This would hurt.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go.
So I'm going Broncos.
I'm going to go Indy on the upset. I think Indy's playing for a lot. I think they're trying to scratch and claw their way to the playoffs, so I think they somehow find a way to win. Buffalo at Detroit. It's going.
Wow.
We know Super Bowl preview.
Yeah, I don't want to. Yeah.
Not preview. I'm just saying this is what.
This
is what everybody's
going to label it. No, I know. Wow. I think this is going to be whoever has the ball last. I'm going to go Detroit, but I think it's going to be like a 46-43 ball game.
I'm going to put this on record. Detroit is going to win big.
Really?
Big.
All right.
This is the type of game where Buffalo comes in flat as a board.
Tired.
They just, this is like any like their losses have been bad, and their losses have been against good teams, other good teams.
Yeah.
So besides, of course they got the Chiefs win. Yeah, of course they got the Chiefs win. But other than that, you can argue how good are the Chiefs.
Yeah.
So I think Detroit wins big.
Okay.
More than 2 scores.
All right. Wow.
2 scores.
I can see it. I can see it. Yeah.
So Tampa at the Chargers.
I got some good games this week.
Yeah. It's a good week.
I'm going to go with the Bucks.
Okay. I
don't know why, just a gut feeling.
Another thing, I'm trying to remember where the Chargers are. So the Chargers are the 6th seed.
Yep.
They are, them and the Broncos, depending on how those games go, could flip.
Okay.
So I think because of that, I think the Chargers win this game.
All right.
I think they're trying to keep their tiebreaker.
Yeah, no.
And keep them stay ahead. So I think the Chargers win this game, but I would not be surprised if there's a loss there.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised. So Pittsburgh at Philadelphia. Not quite Sunday Night Football. Almost.
I'm going to go Steelers.
I'm going to go Philadelphia.
Right.
I'm not being petty, I promise. I'm going to go Philadelphia, though.
No.
I think this is one of those games where it's just going to be probably gritty, grimy.
It's going to be ugly.
Could be 9-6.
That's exactly what I was just getting ready to say. I can see this being like a 9-6 ball game.
Could be 9-6. So
I think the Steelers have a better defense.
They do. But I think the Eagles just somehow, some way.
But a lot of times too, when you have a week where like supposedly people are like, well, Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown aren't blah blah blah, and AJ Brown's won it. Mm-hmm. How many times do a combination like that try to fix it in a game?
Yeah, that's
true.
And
it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like he's throw me the ball, so he's like, all right, I'm gonna throw him the ball.
Yeah.
You go get what I'm getting at. I can see where Jalen Hurts has a really bad game.
Yeah.
If he tries to force it or whatever, and I just think Pittsburgh has a better defense right now.
It'll definitely be interesting. I'm gonna stick with it. I'm gonna go Philadelphia. Philadelphia. Sunday Night Football. We got Green Bay at Seattle.
Wow. A month ago I'd say Green Bay.
Okay.
But Seattle what impressed me of their win last week over Arizona? I think it was like 30-16 maybe or something. Mm-hmm. Normally that game is close.
Seattle's a 3 seed. That's crazy.
Yeah. Quietly the 3 seed. I think I think Sunday Night Football, the fans in Seattle. Mm-hmm. I think they get a win. I think this is a statement game for them to go out and go, hey, we are a 3 seed and here's why.
Yeah, I think.
But they can't start slow.
That's right. They're a 3 seed because they're the division leader.
Yeah, right.
And
they can't start slow though. You can't. Seattle sometimes has. Seattle is one of these. Let's take it to the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times their games are like you're not nail biting near the end or whatever. Because I have two Seahawks fans in my house.
Yeah.
So I've watched all their games. I just think it's almost a playoff game per se in terms of seeding and stuff like that. So I like Seattle.
Okay. I think Green Bay wins this game. I don't know what it is about Green Bay. I'm just liking them.
No, they're playing good ball.
They're better than maybe even their record indicates. I think they're going to win this game and try to get themselves going.
As you head into December, yes.
Weirdly enough, we have 2 Monday Night Football
again.
Games. And it's once again at 8 and at 8:30, which I hate.
Oh,
why they do that, I'll never understand. But we got Chicago at Minnesota. Chicago on the upset?
No.
I don't think I can do it either.
No.
they just. I mean, they haven't given me.
No.
It would be different if it was like how the Panthers have been playing lately.
Right, give you a slimmer of some positivity or hope. Yeah, no.
But they ain't giving us any of that.
No.
Any of that. None of it. So, Minnesota, I think they're going to win pretty big on that one. And Atlanta at Las Vegas. This could be a dogfight of a game. Where is Atlanta, speaking of, in the playoff picture?
I'm going to go.
So Atlanta's a 9 seed.
I'm going to go Raiders.
Okay. And they're 1 game behind the Buccaneers, by the way.
I'm going to go Raiders. Kirk had a tough game the other night. Yeah. He had all the makings of going in against his old team, outdueling Sam Darnold, and you got waxed.
Yep.
So, I think with, the Raiders are a team I just don't want to see on the schedule because they're just going to give you a dogfight.
Yeah.
You know what I'm getting at? I mean, let's face it, they were a false start or an illegal formation snap away from beating Kansas City, with what? Aiden O'Connell, is that who it is?
Yeah.
So they're kind of a tough team.
Yeah, I agree, but I think because of this NFC South race, I think it's starting to heat up.
Yeah, no,
I think
you need to stay on track.
I think it's on like fish bones or whatever they say. Look, I think Atlanta is going to win this game. I think they're trying to compete with Tampa Bay. I'm trying to remember if they got to play each other one more time, which might be the deciding.
I think the pressure's starting to get to Kirk though. This is part of the time of the season where you need to step up and play ball.
Yeah. And unfortunately, Kirk has not been
He don't like that. You like that? No. Nobody's like that last week, dude.
That is funny.
I mean, come on.
But that'll do it for the Keep Prowling podcast. Jeff, I appreciate you for coming by.
You got it, man.
Always fun. Always a lot of fun. And we got a lot of fun football coming up. Not only this weekend.
But state semifinals for high school Friday night. We'll have the Blitz at 10:30 on WCCB. And then Sunday, I'm going to the Panthers. Jack Taylor has the weekend off, so I'm gonna go out and handle the Panthers and Cowboys.
Keep busy.
I'm gonna keep busy. I'm gonna talk to Jerry Jones afterwards. And I'm keeping busy. So it's that time. But high school football, I mean, it's awesome. We're down to the state semi, so that's
the best of the best going at it.
Yeah. You got some good teams around, and it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely gonna be a lot of fun. But we definitely hope you guys have fun. We hope you guys enjoyed the show. Remember, the Keep Prowling podcast is on all major podcasting platforms. So be sure if you don't like the video as much, you can get the audio, put it in the headphones, run around.
You don't have to look at us. That's fine.
Whatever you want to do. Sometimes it's easier to put the audio in, go for a run.
Go run. Yep.
And then show's over,
you can
runs
pick up
over.
The pace when we tick you off.
Right there you go. We got y'all. We are here for y'all's New Year's resolutions. All right, but we definitely hope you guys enjoyed the show. We'll see you guys on the next episode of the Keep Prowling podcast.